Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and I welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and where we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have another kooky episode for you guys. But before we get into it, make sure you go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel. Anyway, oh my gosh, let me get into this topic here. Now, as we all know, the NBA celebrated their top 75 players during the All-Star weekend in Cleveland, Ohio, which is the home of who? The home of LeBron James. LeBron James is from Ohio. So that's where they had the All-Star game. But the man that stole the show, in my personal opinion, is a guy that constantly or notoriously broke the heart of Cleveland fans, and that guy is Michael Jordan. There was no question that amongst all the stars, Michael Jordan was the star of stars. There was no question about that. It was one of the reasons why when he came out, he had the biggest applause, or the loudest applause, from the entire audience, which to me, I think it's actually incredible that this guy that's not even from this city walks through the door and the whole crowd just stood up and say, hey man, the GOAT just walked through the building. Let's just give it up to him, right? And this is something that totally, I believe, wounded the soul, the spirit, the heart of Nick Wright. Because ever since All-Star Weekend, Nick Wright has been on a campaign of just totally embarrassing himself and flat out hating on Michael Jordan with weak argument after weak argument after weak argument. But yesterday on their show, what is it? First Things First, the co-host of the show, Chris Broussard, totally annihilated Nick Wright on TV when it came to this Michael Jordan and LeBron James debate. So for those of you guys who missed the roast that Chris Broussard put on live display on live TV, take a listen to some of the comments that Chris Broussard said yesterday as he was roasting Nick Wright on this whole fake Michael Jordan versus LeBron James comparison. Take a listen to that there.
So let's just go through it, okay? So post Dallas, the first year he won the title. The next year, he won the title. The next year, you said they had the best team in basketball. I do not think that year they had the best team in basketball, not with Dwayne Wade in the position he was in. LeBron, in the finals, gave you 28 a game on 58% shooting and 51% from three. Hold on. Just wait a second. And they lost in 5. They got blown out of that series. So let's set that one aside and we can argue about it in a moment. The next year
I'll set it aside. It happened.
No. I just want to go through it.
It was an old San Antonio team. Tim Duncan wasn't
close
to his
So you think LeBron could have done more?
And Tony Parker and Mountain were hovering on their prime.
So you think in 2014,
if we just want to throw out
LeBron went?
Nick, if we just want to throw out numbers, let's talk about Wilt Chamberlain.
No.
Okay, if we just want to start throwing out incredible numbers, we can bring Wilt into the conversation.
I'm not trying to throw out numbers. I'm asking you an honest question. When the Heat lost in 5, 3 of those losses in blowout fashion, and LeBron, by any objective standard, played very well, you think he could have done more? You think there's a player that you could have inserted? All the other things are the same. That you remove LeBron and put Jordan there, and instead of losing in 5, they win the series. I don't think you actually believe that. That's why I wanted to go year by year.
Nick,
the next year, they lost. Hold on. The next year, Brew, he was 36, 13, and 9. And they lost in 6 when Kyrie and Kevin Love went down. The next year, they won. And then there was the 2 years they lost 4-0 and 4-1 to Golden State. We showed you the numbers because it's the most talented team ever. And the only other healthy year he's had, he won the title since then. So my question is, what's the year that you could have replaced LeBron with Jordan and they win the title post Dallas? Is there a year? Do you believe there's a year?
Nick, you're dealing with hypotheticals and theories and fantasies and what ifs. I'm dealing with facts. You're bringing feelings to a fact fight. I'm dealing with the fact that we never saw Michael Jordan lose in the finals. We never even saw him push to 7 games. All right? I believe Michael Jordan would have, would he have won all of those finals that LeBron lost? I don't know, but we don't know. We can't, it's like Kobe said, we can't answer some of these things. So let's deal with what we do know. What we do know is that Michael Jordan dominated the league in a way that LeBron hasn't. Whether it's individual numbers led the league in scoring 10 years, whether it's defying conventional wisdom. When Jordan came into the league, the view was you could not lead the league in scoring and win championships. Larry Bird never did it. Wilt Chamberlain never did it. Kareem may have done it once. Jordan defied that. The view was you couldn't build a dynasty around a two guard. Jordan defied that. I mean, Jordan locked down the entire league when LeBron locked down one conference.
I think Nick Wright's arguments are beyond idiotic. No, some people think I'm exaggerating, but literally I think his arguments are so idiotic. And one of our viewers yesterday perfectly described it. He said Nick Wright is like a middle school student with a thesaurus. He uses a lot of big words, but his arguments are usually dumb as hell. I'm sorry to say it. A lot of his arguments are pathetic whenever he's trying to make these cases against Michael Jordan. When you listen to the things that he says, no thinking, reasonable person would actually sit back and say, hey, you know what? This guy's making some good art. None of his arguments make sense. None of it. First, he tries to base his argument on numbers. Right? Well, LeBron averaged this in the finals. He averaged this in the finals. He wants to omit losing. Oh, you averaged this in the finals. This in the finals. Then Chris Broussard said, well, okay, if we're going to make this thing about numbers, then let's talk about Wilt Chamberlain. But since he knows that if he brings in Wilt Chamberlain had the most gaudy numbers in NBA history, he's like, okay, no, it's not about numbers. Then he said, it's not about numbers, it's about accomplishment. Then Chris Broussard said in another segment on the same show, he said, but Michael Jordan, it was a far superior offensive player, far superior defensive player. And Nick Wright goes, that's not true. That's a media thing. Like the guy made 9 all-first defensive teams and won a defensive player of the year. And he goes, that's a media thing. So hold up a second. If it's a media thing, then how come you're only talking? Then he said, okay, let's talk about winning. Well, Jordan won more. And he goes, no, I don't want to talk about, I don't want to talk about winning anymore. Let's get back to talking about the numbers. And Nick Wright will say anything to win an argument. His concern is not about making sense. It's about saying anything that he thinks will convince people that LeBron is better than Jordan, but he never has. All of his arguments are not sound. Then he brings up another hypothetical. Well, would Michael Jordan have beaten the Spurs and all of these different, and just to go right back to hypotheticals. And then Chris Broussard said, wait, he said, wait. He's like, bro, you are dealing in fantasies. I'm talking about reality and things that actually happen. You're arguing things that never happen, and this is usually what happens whenever this debate starts. Whenever somebody tries to make an argument that LeBron is on par with Michael Jordan, they cannot do it based on facts. They have to make hypothetical scenarios. Because if they use facts, then you'll quickly realize that this thing is a sham of a debate. First of all, let me just quickly annihilate this argument once again, because it's a very easy debate to win. You don't need an entire show to do it. I'm going to quickly annihilate this argument quickly in like 1 minute or so. First of all, if I ask you guys, who's the better offensive player? It's easy to say it's Michael Jordan. He's a 10-time scoring champion, has the highest scoring average in the NBA regular season, has the highest scoring average in the playoffs. So it's easy, right? We don't need to spend any time thinking about this. Who's the better defensive player? Easily, LeBron has 5 all-first defensive teams, and I think he's made a few second defensive teams. Jordan has 9 all-first in the defensive player of the year award. This is simple. This is very simple. Michael Jordan led the league in steals 3 separate times in his NBA career. This is simple stuff, guys. You don't need to go to Harvard University to understand this, okay? So you have the offense and you have defense. Jordan is clearly better than LeBron James. Who's a better playmaker? LeBron James is a slightly better playmaker and a better rebounder because of his size. Fine. But what do all of those assists and all of that lead to? Jordan's stats amounted to 6 NBA championships with 6 finals MVPs. LeBron's stats have amounted to 4 NBA championships and 6 finals losses. So who's the more successful guy? What are we discussing here? What's the argument? Where is the argument? What is it based on? It's based on nothing but feelings and foolishness. This is a very simple debate to settle. Very, very simple. There is no other thing you can say. Anybody else trying to make any other debate is trying to grasp at straws and kind of trying to come up with some type of obtuse argument, right? Just to make a point. It's a very simple thing. It's not complicated. It's very simple. Jordan is the far more superior. And people get annoyed when you say that because they're like, wait a minute, he's a far more superior player. You're saying it's not. I'm saying it's not close. And it's okay. Just give it up to the dude. Stop with the foolishness. And I'm glad that Chris Broussard systematically annihilated this guy on TV because Nick Wright has been embarrassing himself when it comes to it. He is the definition of a fanboy. He is the flat out definition of a fanboy. Kobe Bryant is my favorite player of all time. I would never say Kobe Bryant is better than Michael Jordan. I would just never would. Why? Because I have sense in my brain. Right? I'm not a fanboy. I'm not twerking it up. And my issue is this guy's saying anything. Thank God Chris Broussard was able to push back on it. Can you imagine if there was another guy on that show that would concur with this guy? It would be an embarrassment. So for me, I'm very happy that he pushed back on him. This thing is not close. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting ours. It's not close. I would debate anybody that it's not close. Forget about being, it's not close. Get over it. The dude is better. Everybody knows this. Millennials know this. The people in the arena knows this. LeBron knows this. Jordan knows this. I know this. You know this. Just get on with it. Go fight another good fight because this one has already been settled. Catch you guys on the next episode.